Remember we said when Epic Games announced it was going to make its own storefront that it was kind of good for competition? 2018, we're all a little bit excited to see what they were going to do. We even made a meme about it.
Round one. Fight.
Well, a lot has happened, of course, since they've entered the ring, but the most disappointing thing, of course, is this whole exclusive strategy that Epic Games does now. It's pissed a lot of people off, forcing them onto the storefront instead of getting them there because it's a fantastic storefront with a lot of features. But at least it gave rise to the meme of, what are you talking about? The game's not out yet. This game comes out in 6 months when it comes out on Steam.
But I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you?
But is this actually paying off for Epic Games? Is this actually working for them? This whole exclusive thing just to go to war against Steam? Well, up until recently, we didn't really know a lot of information in terms of actual figures and how much this was all costing. But because Apple and Epic are in court, there's some new figures that have come out yesterday regarding this. Let's get into it. There's a lot to cover today. All this and more after the draw.
Hello, this is Gabe Newell.
You must be the Monopoly guy.
First Blood.
Backstory, do we really need to do it, folks? Let's do a little bit of it. In August of 2020, Epic thought it was a great idea to actually do an update on the iOS and the Android Google Play Store to allow people to buy V-Bucks directly from the Epic Games Store and bypass the iOS Store and Google Play Store, meaning that Apple and Google weren't going to get their 30% on every purchase when you're playing Fortnite on a mobile. This, of course, got Apple and Epic into a court battle because Apple took Fortnite off the storefront, landed them in court, and now Apple's been doing a bit of research into some figures, hence how we got these figures today. But on top of that, to go back even further, in 2018, Epic decided that they wanted to go to war, not only with Apple recently, but also with Steam in 2018, and announced that they were going to do their own storefront to compete with Steam's monopoly that they have on storefronts in PC. To take on Steam, Epic Games has spent the past 2 years shoveling Fortnite money into the Epic Games Store, making over 100 exclusivity deals and giving away free games every week. We knew Epic was spending a lot of cash to get customers onto its store, but didn't have many specifics until now. Thanks to the Epic Games legal battle with Apple, we learnt this week that Epic committed around $444 million to Epic Games Store exclusivity deals in 2020 alone. Phew! I love that. Phew! Really just makes the article come alive, doesn't it? Now, over 100 exclusivity deals and giving away games every week on the Epic Games Store has had an effect. I mean, we can't deny that. Epic Games Store is part of the conversation now a lot of the time, and a lot of games that come out, a lot of people say, is this going to be an Epic Games exclusive? That becomes part of the conversation. Now, it's a pretty shitty way of getting people onto your platform, as I've said before. To get people onto your platform, not because you have fantastic features and a really compelling offer why you want to start using that storefront, but to just force them there because you're just throwing a bucket load of cash to some developer to get their game onto your platform, and then at the very beginning, especially in 2018 when they offered the Epic Games Store, it was missing so many features, it just pissed people off. And another thing, a very obvious thing, is if you're actually forcing people onto the Epic Games Store, only for them to find that you're not offering the same high quality storefront, the moment they're finished playing that game, they're out of there. In its end of year report, Epic said that players spent $700 million on the Epic Games Store in 2020, but third-party game sales only accounted for $265 million of that spending. That $444 million in advances to third-party devs isn't close to being recouped then. Some of those deals must be for exclusives releasing in the future, but according to Apple's learnings, Epic is going to eat at least $330 million in unrecouped costs from minimum guarantees alone, if you also consider 2019's deals. $330 million! That's freedom dollars, not dollary dues also, so that's a lot of money, everybody. But we have to ask ourselves, how much is $330 million to Epic Games? Is it a drop in the ocean, or is that a lot? Following the release of the popular Fortnite Battle Royale in 2017, the company gained additional investments that enabled it to expand its Unreal Engine offerings, establish esport events around Fortnite, and launch the Epic Game Store. As of 2020, the company has a $7.3 billion equity valuation. Also, in another article in 2019, Fortnite brought in revenues of $1.8 billion, according to data reported by Superdata Research, a Nielsen company. Now, of course, it's been a couple of years since then, but we can still at least agree that Fortnite is gigantic still, Epic Games is making a lot of money, and the valuation does prove at least that $330 million isn't a gigantic amount for them, but still it's pretty hefty. Now, there's a lot of yardsticks, of course, to look at in terms of has this paid off. First things first, PR-wise, do people like Epic Games Store anymore now? I feel like if you still go across Twitter, Reddit, the internet in general, still, people aren't overly wrapped with the Epic Games Store. It hasn't really done them wonders to force people onto the Epic Games Store and start using that product. If in the last 2 or 3 years we had really seen that people absolutely love the Epic Games Store, love Tim Sweeney for what he's done to the gaming industry over the last 2 or 3 years by introducing the Epic Games Store into the equation, I would say that that $330 million was more justified, but we haven't really seen that. Another aspect to this, of course, is cloud-based gaming. What's going to happen with that in the future? In the next 5 to 10 years, I think at least that we're going to see a lot more cloud-based solutions in terms of you can play pretty much all of the games that you want to play in 5 years' time on your phone or your 65-inch Ultra HD smart TV. That's also going to be, I'm sure, very much part of the gaming ecosystem. And from what I could see, I can't see at the moment Epic Games has any sort of plan to build out a cloud streaming solution. Having said that, Epic Games did say last year that they were wholeheartedly behind GeForce Now. And you can play Fortnite through GeForce Now. So maybe in the future, Epic Games is just going to look to partner up with people like GeForce Now to deliver a cloud-based solution. But many storefronts we see today are going to need to change, especially when Xbox is going to have its own ecosystem completely on the cloud, PlayStation, and many publishers in the future will also offer something very similar in terms of offering a cloud-based solution for their catalog of games. So if we can assume that cloud-based gaming is going to be a big thing in the future, and a lot of these big players and a lot of these big platforms and publishers are going to be offering their own solutions, it honestly begs the question, $330 million on exclusives, I wonder if that is going to actually pay off in the future when we're going through such a transformative time in how people can actually access and purchase and play games. In my opinion, unless Epic Games has a plan for that to corner that market also in the future and outlay even more money into cloud infrastructure, and then of course on top of that, have to corner more exclusive deals, I see their current business model as shaky ground. But we will have to see what happens in the future. Also very excited to see what happens with the Epic and Apple court case. I will keep you updated when we have more information on that. Until next time, guys, love you, appreciate you. I will see you soon. Laymen out.